with StreamYard. Screw it up again. And there we go. Hey, welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Live. Probably the only Monday overnighter we're going to have. This was supposed to originally go ahead last night, but Thade wasn't feeling too well. And since the Star Wars portion was a pretty big, how you doing, Chappie? Big important part of that show, it made more sense to go ahead and move it. So, like I said, I wasn't planning on doing a show tonight, so we're still in my old setup. So it'll work out. So tonight, we continue our film showcase, the independent filmmakers showcase, with a person I've known for about 10 years, off and on, and she's got her own IMDb page. I'll put that in there. It was a pre-recorded interview. We did it on Thursday because our time differences and schedule just wouldn't allow for a live one like we have been able to do with everybody else. So it's about a 20-minute interview. I will go ahead and play that in a couple of minutes. But first of all, I wanted to get some of our sponsors out the way. How you doing, Aaron? You guys, I mean, do I need to say any more? If I'm not promoting them, I'm eating their food on the air. So Sister Kim's Kitchen is located 900 Liberace Avenue in the same exact plaza as the Sci-Fi Center. So if you ever visit me in Vegas, trust me, you will make it down to Sister Kim's. All right. Also, Troma Pictures and the Sci-Fi Center present Tromania. It will be a 2-day event centered around exclusively Troma movies, Troma merchandise, Troma, Troma-centric, shorts, everything else. We're going to have some small short stuff that I've been asking people all throughout, to submit their stuff to me so we can get it up on the screen. And it will also include 3 Vegas premieres, movies that Troma has produced that have never been seen here in Las Vegas. So it'll be Shakespeare's Shitstorm, Eating Miss Campbell, and Kill, Dolly Deadly Part 2. And I'm going to be interviewing all of those people leading up to this event. So you guys will get a chance to meet them as well. And also Paramount Pictures and CBS Home Video, who are presenting Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1 on DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook. I still have 1 or 2 to give away before the end of Picard Season 3, so stay tuned. And for those of you all who have won previous times, be on the lookout. You should be getting your DVDs pretty soon. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, yes, please like and subscribe, or we'll even use the force on you, and I'll probably end up choking the wrong person. All right, so to get things started off, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the how you doing, Fun. In fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and say hi to everybody. I'll just get Fun. Hi. I'm going to go ahead and get to this real quick. It's about a 20-minute recording. She won't be able to answer your questions, obviously, because it's pre-recorded, but she will be watching it, so hopefully show you guys his appreciation. Her name is Lou Simon, and one of the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the trailer for her newest movie called 73 Minutes. 73 Minutes is about a lawyer, and she'll explain more to it in an interview, who's basically being blackmailed to get certain files to a certain mysterious person. The trailer looks phenomenal, so I am going to go ahead and get you introduced to her and her trailer, and then we'll roll right into the interview. Keep in mind, the interview was done at the center during one of my shittier internet phases. So even though I'm pixelated, you can hear me, but you're not tuning in for me. You're tuning in for the guest, and plus me, you'll want to look at her way more than you want to look at me. So we'll go ahead and get this going. Make sure I am up on the screen so StreamYard does not make me look like a fool. And we're going to go full screen here, and here we go.
Device connected. Hi, Mom. I'll be there in about 20 minutes.
I just stepped out of the shower and you're not here. Where'd you go?
You have to stop.
Come back. You know I love you.
Sorry. You have a call from unknown caller. Who is this?
You have 73 minutes to get me that file, or I kill your kid.
Go find another chump.
It's crazy how easy it is to hack into a car's computer these days.
You did what?
Better start driving.
Why are you doing this to me?
I know where you are at all times.
Hey, where are you calling me from?
He has my phone tapped somehow.
How can I help?
I want to figure out what's so important on this file that he's willing to do all of this.
Well, what have you gotten yourself into?
You've been crying? You look terrible. You're acting weird, Mom.
Why is this happening to me?
Monica, what is going on?
I think I know who it is. He's going to kill me as soon as he gets this file.
You're still not planning a meeting with him, right?
Nothing has changed. He has my family. He's here, Keith.
You need to get out of there. Go find some place to hide.
Now, I'm coming for all of you.
All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring up the interview from director Lou Simon. And that trailer looks cool. I want to see this movie. She's promised me as soon as it's done, I get to get a look at it. And the other day we got a chance to interview her. And I need to see if I can change my window. And there we go. All right, guys, I am going to go grab some food, remove myself from the screen. Like I said, ignore me, ignore my pixelation, ignore my Kermit the Frog voice. Pay attention to her. She's one of the cooler people I've ever had to interview. So here we go. That is my first time since 2014 announcing it right. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing. Fourth, you're telling me there's no audio. Stella, are we good on audio?
I haven't heard a thing.
Hold on.
I'm in agreement with Fourth. I don't hear anything.
Hold on, let me fix that. Let's see. Let's try this again.
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't hear the interview.
Oh, that sucks. I hate StreamYards. There we go.
You know, that would be the thing that would.
How about now?
Would
We're good.
see it
We're
and be
good.
like, oh,
Okay.
I don't want to start it over.
What a great
All right.
writer! I got.
That's right. I may have to stay on screen because StreamYards is not being. So you get to look at my ugly face for a little bit, at least avatar-wise. So let's go ahead and do this and make it easier on your guys' eyes. Here we go. All right. I've been saying Simon in my head
Everybody does, but I just thought that, so I figured I'd tell you.
for 8 years. All right. Well, I'm here with Lou Simone. That is my first time since 2014 pronouncing it right. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. So I've known of you, obviously, like we spoke, since 2014. I've actually screened a few of your movies here for our small film festivals. How did you get started into this? Because I know this wasn't your first profession. How did you get into independent and mainly horror filmmaking?
Well, I started out wanting to be a writer. Really, is what I wanted to do. I started writing, and I kept submitting, to Pitch Fest and submitting to producers and writing gigs, and it's just basically impossible to break in almost as a writer. I mean, especially when you don't have connections that can get you an agent and so on, and we just had this crazy idea that if we made one film, that it would, that would be the thing that would, somebody would see it and be like, oh my God, this is such a great story. What a great writer. I gotta hire her, Well, that didn't happen. So the first one was a bit of a disaster. It was a real learning curve. I wasn't supposed to direct, and then all of a sudden, it just kind of happened that I did. I halfway through, I kind of took over and started directing the film, and I was like, this is kind of actually fun. And then after that, I was really at a crossroads of deciding, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue doing this, or do I want to, just go back to my old life? And I thought, I'm just gonna do one more, just for the fun of it. Did it with less money, but it's still a decent budget by some people's stories about how much they made their first feature for. And it was Hazmat. And that one was so successful. I mean, it was a great time in distribution for indie films. We still had blockbusters and Redbox and all that. So we got released in Redbox and 35,000 kiosks, and had a great experience with distribution. And after that, I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do this all day, So, and that's it. It just segued to making films, and now it's been 7 features since 2014. So,
if you don't mind me asking, what was the budget for Hazmat?
For Hazmat was about 50,000, give or take.
That's not bad. I've had guys on here who had, if you go back, I think one of them, John Ward, had a budget of 800.
Oh my God! That's what I'm saying. Compared to other people, it was still like a nice amount, But it's definitely, like a fraction of a fraction, of a studio film. So.
Yeah, he saved money because it was about a horror movie that was in a storage, one of the storage unit places, and he was actually a manager there, so that's how he was able to do that. So he saved the set bonus for that. I thought that was cool. But I always like to ask that question because I know there's a lot of people out there that are not doing something because they don't think they have enough money, or they don't think they don't have an exorbitant amount of money. And I always try to point out that the first step is the hardest one, and if you get something out with it, Ed Wood would have never made movies if it was about waiting to make his movies. A lot of people just didn't get influenced by him. So, and I think post fact, a lot of people are. So,
I mean, obviously, a movie like Clerks and stuff like that. Although it's just a lot harder though. I mean, it's almost like for distribution, you almost need a named actor now to get any kind of real money. And then other than that, there's just so much content that really it's getting harder and harder to make money. I mean, to be completely honest, I encourage people to follow their dreams, but it's tough. I'm not always also not gonna make it sound like it's wonderful, because a lot of people are making films. And so there's a bit of a glut in the market, if you will, of indie films. So you got to really do something to really stand out in order to be one of the few that actually makes money. The majority of them will lose money, and it's really, really hard.
How's the streaming? Because I know when you first started out,
Is that, for example, somebody like Amazon that used to pay, it was pretty easy to get your film on Amazon Prime and do all that. Now they've kind of done away with with all indie films. Most of them you can't have it just on Prime. They can be part of the subscription anymore. How they decide that, I have no idea. But even films of mine that were on Prime before are no longer on Prime. So you have to pay, every time you want to view it, and that makes it hard because most people don't want to pay for entertainment anymore. They're paying so much in subscriptions that they don't want to have to pay $3 to watch a film, especially a film when they don't recognize the actors, or doesn't have Tom Cruise on the cover. They don't really want to pay for it. It's not a new release, so it's become really hard for indie filmmakers, and it gets worse every day. It feels like it. Like even when it was on Prime, there were Amazon was paying like $0.01 an hour, which and that's to the distributor, and then you get only 65 or 75% of that depending on your your cut with your distributor. So really, we weren't getting paid very much, even when they weren't kicking most indie films off of the Prime subscription. So I mean, at this point, the best paying is Tubi, and I just today I found out by complete coincidence. I hadn't checked in a while, and I was like, oh, let me go see how much I have Agoraphobia has made, and I was actually very surprised that Roku sent me a big big payout. I was like, oh, okay. I don't think of Roku as a place to go watch a movie, but I guess
I actually have watched some movies on Roku. I watch a lot of horror through Roku.
Really?
Yeah.
I never even think of and I have a Roku TV, and I don't think of using them to watch TV, to watch movies. And I guess I should now that I know how well they pay their filmmakers, So.
And they have a good variety. Roku, that's the two best. Roku and Tubi, to be honest with you, have some obscure horror. And the thing about it is when I get on there, so say if I was going to go watch Hazmat, right? Mm-hmm. So once I watch it though, it starts recommending stuff for me, and I'm like, okay, I'll try that, and I'll try that. So some of the obscure stuff that I hadn't heard of, or some of the most, I know some independent directors, some of the people we've interviewed, whose stuff is on here, on there too, and I'm like, it actually is a good place for horror, and I'm a horror nerd, so those two platforms are pretty cool. So I'm glad you made it on there. Now, I watched your movies. I have a name where I'm not going to say it out loud yet, who I think I see an influence in your work. Who's influenced your work, in your opinion?
I mean, my favorite director is Alfred Hitchcock, and I mean, that's what I aspire to. I don't know. I mean, you tell me if I'm successful or not, but, that's that.
Agoraphobia, definitely. I felt Alfred Hitchcock all over that. I definitely felt that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, to me, it's not blood and gore. I mean, there's definitely quite a bit of that in some of my films. But it's more, I just really like building up suspense and, and just very developed stories, I guess, if you will. I like twists and turns and that kind of thing. Even Hazmat, that is a slasher, has a bit of a twist at the end. So.
Well, I see Dario Argento.
Oh.
When I watch your movies, there's an intensity to them, and the twist, and then the whole vision thing that that you have to pretty much be in to really understand. So, some of the ones like Hazmat is not necessarily a traditional type of slasher movie. It is, but it's not at the same time, which is what his movies were. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the stuff that they're watching, a lot of the stuff that made it over and got transformed into what would be like Friday the 13th or Halloween or things like that, had their roots based in things that had a lot more story to them than just, hot chicks getting getting cut up as soon as they reached a campsite. He did have those in his movie. Don't get me wrong. But there was more to the guy, the movies that he did. And when we got him in America, we just decided we're going to cut that out. And it worked. It worked. I mean, Friday the 13th, up until they went into space was, You know, and I always tell our guys, once you go into space, it's over, except for Leprechaun. Leprechaun is the only franchise where Leprechaun went to space, and I will never forget. I went to VHS. I rented that because it says Leprechaun on it, right? And I love the Leprechaun movies, but they didn't tell you in the package that it was in space because they knew I wouldn't get it. And sure enough, in space, you know, I didn't even. I took it back to Blockbuster, and that was it. They came back with Leprechaun in the Hood, and that saved the franchise for me. So, but yeah, a lot of that stuff. But when I watch a lot of guys, they, you know, or a lot of gals. Directors and period have been indirectly influenced by Fulci, you know, Argento, a lot of the Italian directors. Without, you know, and you look at their stuff, and it's like they don't even know who I'm talking about. But there's no way that they didn't see this somewhere because it's influence, you know, especially with, like I said, the intensity though. So, what are you working on right now?
Well, we just finished a film that we shot last year called 9 Windows. That is actually modern reimagining of Rear Window. So there's your Hitchcock for you. But the one that's really right now in my mind is the one that is being released this upcoming month called 73 Minutes. Oh, wait, no, the other way. And it's a thriller that we shot in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and it was, you know, it has nothing to do with the pandemic. So, you know, I know people are like burn out with that subject.
We live the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, I said it at the moment. I was like, I want to make a movie with all the restrictions of the pandemic, but not about that, because I don't think anybody will ever want to look back on this time in our lives. Like, it is the biggest horror we've all experienced as, you know, as a worldwide experience, but it's definitely not something any of us, at least I don't want to relive. No. So it's not that. It's a thriller. It's a, you know, clock ticking, you know, kind of situation of a lawyer who needs to deliver a file to a person who calls her and threatens her daughter's life, and she has 73 minutes to get him the file, or he will kill her daughter. And so she spends those 73 minutes while she's driving to this location to try to figure out why he wants this file and who he is and what can she do, because she's afraid that the moment that she delivers the file, he'll kill her. So so it's, you know, not about the pandemic. I just want to clear that up.
when 10 years, 15 years from now, we can revisit the whole pandemic thing. It'll be a little bit further. It's like 9/11. You know, Nick Cage made a 9/11 movie, but it took 6 years. You know, but no, when it's still fresh in your memory, it's kind of traumatizing because you just don't, you know, just the little things. I mean, we can make a movie about the fighting over toilet paper. I mean, that was ridiculous. And my question was, what happened before the pandemic where you needed to stock up on toilet paper? How are we dealing with this issue pre-pandemic? So that's a horror movie right there. I mean, but not yet. Now we still have time to get that out of our head. But when does 73 Minutes get released, or when is that slated for my eyeballs to see it?
Well, it's going to be part of the Blu-ray release of Horror Pack. So it's a subscription service, and it's coming out in April. You have till April 15th to go to horrorpack.com and subscribe for April, and hopefully they'll keep the subscription because they have amazing films that they release every month. And then it will be available to stream, you know, about May or June, around there.
Okay, and I'm going to, for those of you guys who are watching, this is pre-recorded, but in your chat you'll see all the links that you need for Lou. Her IMDb page will be with there. A link to Horror Pack will be in there, and then you can go to IMDb and see all of her movies that she's done and worked on and written and been a part of. And like I said, I hope to be showing some of them pretty soon too, because I got my little film festival that we're doing way down the line in October. So hopefully we can meet again and get something going. But yeah, finally after 2023, 9 years of you just being text on the screen to me, we finally meet each other. You know?
That's so cool. Finally, you know, people say horrible things about social media, but I've met so many wonderful people through social media. People who are like, I think of them as friends, and then afterwards I realized I've never even met this person. How weird.
Yeah, I stream on a weekly basis with people who sometimes are around the world, and we've never met. Sometimes because I live in Vegas, they come on vacation, and they'll make stopping by, because I'm literally streaming from the store right now. They'll make stopping by the store, part of their plan, and we'll meet them. But if I lived in I met somewhere where it wasn't a vacation spot, I would never meet these guys. And I'm all right. Like I said, I like meeting people in person, but at the same time, you're 3,000 miles away and across the time zone, and it would be tough to do it any other way. But now we can get it done. We can use this platform. Like I said, my goal is to use the platform to get people the word out there. Get people to watch these things, get people to give them a chance. Give this, like I said, horror pack, which I hadn't brought up before because I'm a Shudder guy, but that's just another $4 or $5. I mean, I have every streaming service known to man.
Well, horror pack is a Blu-ray. It's for people who want to collect the actual physical.
Oh, the physical media?
Yeah, physical media.
Cool.
So I think it's don't quote me on this, but I think it's 3 Blu-rays every month.
Well, it's like old Netflix. It's like old Netflix used to be, kind of.
Yeah, remember that?
Remember when Netflix wasn't
I'm
streaming?
feeling old again.
You had to go, hey, I'm alive. Remember when you had to get the Netflix thing, and then you had to take it to there, and once you finish watching one, you sent it, and then your queue they would send you. Now you just click on it, and it's there. So that's how. The damn kids, you guys will never know the struggle.
Well, this is actually more like if you want to own the physical media, Yeah,
you don't have to send it back.
So you don't have to send it back. It's all yours. It's, there's some people who are diehard collectors, they collect physical media. I know that they put out some really great stuff, and some stuff that you can't get anywhere else, to be honest, because a lot of, like indie stuff that you can't, especially if you're like into collecting Blu-rays. Yeah. Most distributors are not doing Blu-rays anymore. Most of my print DVDs, but not Blu-rays. It's they don't find it cost effective. So this is a way to actually own stuff in physical media and Blu-ray. Yeah. So
I long for physical media to make its return. I think it will. Vinyl, if you'd have told me 10, 12 years ago that vinyl would make its return, I would have laughed at you. Now vinyl is back.
Right?
VHS, I see people, I have VHSs here. People are interested in them. They buy them. I think what those places represent, and we did a feature on our overnight show, places like Tower Records and Blockbuster, they represented a community and what I call random encounters. You don't just get to click on who you want to meet all the time. You actually meet somebody in a certain horror section of a video plays, and or when you're at Borders bookstore at the coffee shop, you might see a D&D geek there, and you might sit down. And we don't have that anymore. And I love the internet. Don't get me wrong, we're on the internet. I love the internet for all its advantages. But the one thing that I think we need to come back to, and I think COVID really did press that home, is that people, as mammals, we are people. We want to interact with people. Yep. And we put a lot of machines in between us. So I think that's coming around. I think physical media will be back. And horror is the best thing you have on physical media, because when you have special features, the streamers don't always give you special features. So,
yeah, like one of the special features on this Blu-ray is the fact that we have a how we made the film in the middle of lockdown, with actors in 4 different states, and and how we had to shoot everything and all the issues we had making it, because it was not, we shot all the car scenes in the middle of the the curfews during the Black Lives Matter riot.
Good stuff going down.
So all this stuff was going on downtown, and we're like shooting illegally on away as far away from downtown as we could get, just because there wasn't even, this was so in the middle of everything happening that there weren't even government offices open, so you can ask for a film permit. So it was either don't make the movie or make it, kind of guerrilla style. And I have never done that. I've always been so good about, getting permits and shooting very legally, whatever, but it was either that or nothing. So we chose that, because we needed to be creative. We were going crazy, after being at that point. This was June of 2020, so at that point it had been like 3 months of just.
Yeah, we were in the heart of it. I mean, every time I see anniversaries and stuff pop up on my Facebook thing, I say, this is where you were at and I see the date, and I'm like, let's just go ahead and skip that, because wow.
Yeah.
It was not, and it was scary too, because we think about it now because we're 3 years past it. We have vaccines, we have all these things in there. But in the moment, when you were seeing that death toll and all that stuff climb in real life, and you couldn't change the channel to something else and say, you know what, this horror movie sucks, let me change it to Big Bang Theory or something. You couldn't. It was what you were living. And when it started reaching the 3,000 and 4,000 a day, and I'm like, I'm a combat vet. If we don't lose that many people in wars, and it's like, it was just stunning. So yeah, it was shell shock to be going through that, and then to still be doing stuff, because in June is where we could open back up and start dealing with customers, start dealing with things. It was still weird because you had like little footprints on your ground 6 feet apart. I mean, that was just, all that stuff is like coming back to me, and I'm like, you were able to make a movie in that environment, which is really impressive. So yeah, I do want to see that special feature, because that's a triumph right there. Yeah. Just to get anything done during that period was a triumph. Making a movie is even, more impressive. So I'm happy you got it done. I can't wait to see the effects of it. Thank you for finally for allowing us to meet, and thank you for making the movies that you put out continue to be like a guiding light in independent filmmaking. So like I said, because everybody who does it is a beacon for everybody else who's doing it. So, and you're one of them. So everybody, where can they find you directly though? Because I'm going to put the links and everything. But if you had a URL, what's the one you want to spit out and let everybody know how to find you?
I'm at Ms. Lou Simon LOUSIMON on all my social media. I'm on everything except Twitter because
yeah, I
got off of that. So yeah, that's me personally.
All right, great. And like I said, I'll be in touch about October, but until then,
yeah, for sure.
Simone, not Simon, like I've been saying in my head for 9 years.
Don't feel bad, everybody does it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having me. So nice to finally meet you in person, sort of.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so sorry about the sound issue I was having here. Haven't quite figured out how to run the inline thing. StreamYard's is a little bit different. I know when we were actually doing it and playing it back, it was right in line. You didn't have to worry about that. But I think a lot of it was because it was actually running through the mic. But you got to hear, you got to see her. I don't think it caused too much of an issue. I'm still aggravated at Cox Cable because while I was playing it back on the one screen, I looked fine. But when I looked it back after all that decompression and all that, I was just so pissed off. But at least you guys got to see and hear her perfectly. You get to see me all the time. You probably get to see me too many times. But at least you were able to hear her. And yeah, we don't get I think women, as far as filmmakers it goes, they are very underrepresented, and especially when you go into a horror, it even gets even more minute. So I've known Lou for quite a while now. I've met her through other people. I've actually screened her movies. Hadn't had the chance to meet her in person, but because like I said, she's come through Vegas. Her schedule wacky, but there you go. I'm trying to give you guys all sides of independent filmmaking. So far, I've been consistent as far as being able to get you horror and science fiction, but it won't always be exclusive to that. I mean, a filmmaker, to me, I've always said before, when defending people like James Gunn or anybody else, that a storyteller is a storyteller, period. So when we have them on here, how you guys doing? When we have them on here, we're just basically, we have the genre, but we also want to hear about the nuts and bolts and the genesis of storytelling. And then when you hear these people coming in from different walks of life, different genres, there's one commonality amongst them all is the basis of their story, which is, the same no matter what the genre is. So look at this. This is Horror Pack. I didn't even know I had heard of this, but I didn't know it was a physical media one that you could actually do like the old Netflix days. So that's kind of cool. So that's neat.
And the
Like
good
I
thing
said,
about Horror Pack,
You're
the good
surrounded.
thing about
I had the volume on. Hold on. Wait. I got to recover. Okay, go.
the good thing about Horror Pack is you get 4 Blu-rays or 4 DVDs a month, and one of them is always an exclusive that you can't get anywhere other than Horror Pack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I put the link in the chat, so guys, check that out, and also check out Lou Simon. I put her social media tag in there, and I also put her IMDb page in there as well. So you guys, I have the people we're getting are legit people who have IMDb pages. So even though hey, if they're
William,
making it out of their garage, I'm okay. Yeah, what's up?
now this is absolutely random. You don't get to pick what movies you get. They give you three studio movies, three studio horror movies. So like you'll get something like Aliens or The Night House or something like that. And then like I said, you get a fourth DVD or Blu-ray that is exclusive to Horror Pack, and it's usually an indie film. So that's probably how hers is going to come out. It'll be the exclusive for the month.
Cool. I'm gonna see if I can get her to give it to me on my one. I have a festival called Black October where we feature horror independent films. So, but yeah, like I said, I mean, she's got IMDb page, which is always cool. Most of our guys do, but like I said, what I'm doing is not limited to that high end of independent movie. If you have put out an independent movie, reach out to me. We'll put you on. All right, Dave. So you got some Star Wars stuff you want to get to, huh?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of clips and stuff. Basically, they did for each of the 4 days of celebrate for Star Wars Celebration in London. Uh, they did a stream to YouTube, and I've got like certain things I'm gonna clip out and show y'all. Of course, you've got the 2 or 3 trailers that are important are the Ahsoka trailer, which I'll play. They did the trailer for Star Wars Visions season 2, which I'll play that trailer too. And then I'm going to show some of the interviews they had with people from the new movies they talked about. But real quick though, I'm going to share a picture if I can. Something you were talking about the other day. Actually, cancel. Give me a second. Find it again real quick. There we go.
Did your mic just cut out, or did I just lose sound?
No, I'm just looking for something real
Oh,
quick.
okay. Yeah, because it goes dead silent, and I start getting my Cox rage at
Right.
12:10 Pacific time. So those motherfuckers. Yeah, they're boy. If I could find a different alternative for what I'm doing, but right now, even with their screw ups, they're you can't really beat them as far as their speed. I mean, but it's like they fail me at the worst times. Like that interview. I've been waiting to interview for her for a while, and then I'm getting all pixelated. I'm like, dude, with my download speed that I'm paying for, I should literally come in like Star Trek. I should literally come in like 24th century visuals, and I'm
Right.
getting 19 Cuban Missile Crisis visuals. It's aggravating. It would be one thing if it was just me watching TV or my internet going out or something like that. No big deal. But we're putting on a presentation, and I'm putting on, I'm giving Cox money so that we have the best stuff available to us, and we still get that. So yeah, excuse me if I'm a little bit. Oh wow, yeah, there you go. Clint doing what he usually does at me, which is poke holes in me. So yeah, don't worry about that, guys. Did you find it?
This picture is horrible.
I'm on the screen. I don't think we're gonna shock the audience with anything ugly today.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about something I'm trying to bring up. Okay, so you talked about the other day that you wanted to see uh, movies for like Star Wars media stuff in other time periods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a graphic from from Celebration this weekend. Hopefully, I can. Oh, damn it! Where is it?
Wow, you're having a William night.
Yeah.
I don't feel so bad.
Okay. Share that. Okay. I don't know if you can see that very well, but
I can see it good enough.
these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 9 eras that they're going to do Star Wars media and television shows in. Okay. You have. Let me actually go where I can see it. You have this first one here is Dawn of the Jedi. That's the symbol that's on the floor in the temple at Octo. This is going to be like 25,000 years into the past, that time period, Dawn of the Jedi kind of thing. Then you have the Old Republic.
Now, how far back is that?
This is going to be, I think, up to 3,500 years before.
Okay. All right. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, this is going to be up to 3,500 years before the dawn of, the. Then you have this one here, which is High Republic, which is where the Acolyte's going to be in this time period right here.
I'll pass on that. All right.
Well, no. See, the High Republic stuff, the Acolyte is purely going to be Jedi and Sith. It's about two sisters that are divided at birth. One is Force sensitive, one is not, and because the Jedi wouldn't save her sister, she starts straying towards the dark side. Hence, she's the Acolyte. Okay. This one's gonna have a Wookiee Jedi in it. It's gonna have Carrie-Anne Moss from.
How's that gonna work?
How's it gonna work?
The Wookiee Jedi.
Oh, it's the guy. It's actually the guy that filled in for Peter Mayhew, the guy that originally played Chewbacca for the sequel trilogy after Peter Mayhew died. He filled in for Chewbacca for the rest of the sequel movies.
But how are we doing all that cool Jedi speak and all these speeches and stuff when it's just going to be? I mean, I don't.
Well, apparently they can understand him. Now they did not show a public trailer for the Acolyte, so this is why I'm talking about it right now. But I actually saw a leaked trailer that was official that they showed at Celebration, and it's very this show is going to be very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There's going to be a lot of like martial arts in it and stuff like that. And it's going to be basically the Sith coming to bear again before the time of Palpatine. And the rumor is, they haven't said one way or the other, but there probably will be a younger version of Yoda in this show, because this takes place like 250 years before Episode 1. But there's no Skywalkers.
Well, two of these things, the first two things have intrigued me, but the third one, and I'll have to take a wait and see attitude on those other ones. But those first two things, like Dawn of the Jedi, is cool. But that second one is right where I want to be with Star Wars.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors surrounding this time period right here. They don't have anything announced yet, but there's a lot of rumors, and one of the names that's coming out as a rumor is Revan. And since they canonized Revan's character in the Clone Wars show, it's possible that we might get some stuff from like the Knights of the Old Republic, stuff like that.
Well, if you go 500 years, so if that's 3,500 years, right? If you go 500 years before, that's the Ulick Quojama XR Khan era. So yeah, that's definitely within a wheelhouse I want to see.
Now, this era right here is the prequel era, what they call the Fall of the Jedi era now. This is Imperial. This is the original trilogy era right here.
Okay, pass.
Then you have Rise of the New Republic here, which is where Mando and all of that is right now. Then you have the New Republic era here, which is just before the sequels. Then you have the sequel trilogy stuff here, which is they're calling this era the Rise of the First Order.
Now, I got a question. Now, are these just references? These are not things that they're going to be doing in that era. Like, we're not going to see any more sequel stuff, right? This is just giving you a timeline, right? Is that what I'm
This is
understanding?
yeah, this is a timeline.
Okay.
Now we may get like connective tissue stuff that goes in like during the sequel era. But what the last thing here is New Jedi Order, and this is going to involve a movie. And this may not make people happy, but it's I'm reporting everything from Celebration. There's going to be a Rey movie. It's set 15 years after the sequel trilogy, where she's starting a new Jedi Order, and that's the first thing that's been announced in that timeline.
Here's a saving grace about that. And when they first announced this, I could just feel the collective groan. And you know how I feel about just the name Skywalker after nearly a half a century on the planet and just it being inundated with that same name. The saving grace about this one, though, is all the other Skywalker clutter is gone. It's
Yeah,
just gonna be her. So
it's
this
just
might,
her. It's
yeah.
just her. It's her and possibly Grogu from the Mandalorian.
That'll make a lot of people happy because they know that he doesn't get fried at some point. So there
Yeah.
you go, a win-win.
Now that first era that I was talking about, the Dawn of the Jedi era,
Mhm.
the thing that makes me happy about that is James Mangold, the guy who directed Logan, is directing a movie in that time period, the Dawn of the Jedi time period, called The First Jedi. And what they're talking about, this movie is going to have the old like the movie is going to be like the movie is going to be basically based on like the old biblical epics. Like it's going to be that sort of cinematic and that sort of epic like old movie storytelling.
Like Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, like that stuff. Yeah. So it's going to be based on the start of the Jedi Order. Uh,
Question: Is it? Did they give me indication if it's going to be an origin of the Jedi or origin of the Force, or are we going to leave the Force ambiguous?
the Force, so far as I know, is ambiguous.
Okay.
But it's going to be the start of the Jedi Order, the Jedi Order. This may harken to some of the stories that are canon still, that talk about the original Force users that were considered the Jedi were both light side and dark side users on the planet of Tython. And there were two moons on the planet of Tython. There were two moons of this planet. One was called Ashla and one was called Bogan. Ashla is the light side of the Force. Bogan is the dark side of the Force. And these early Force users used both light and dark side of the Force.
Now, I also know, going back from the era that I love, is that the dark side users were the ones that intermingled with the Sith, the alchemist race that was an actual race, and that's where we got them from too. So I'm wondering if they'll follow through on that kind of thing and make that canon as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay. Well, your mic has changed to where when you go silent, it's completely dead silent. It's creeping me out, man. Because I'm
Well,
like,
there's no. I've pretty much shut down the sound behind me in the background. Uh, so anyway, that's what we're looking at there. The only other movie they mentioned, uh, James Mangold's getting his. Uh, there's going to be the Ray movie, and then there's a third movie that's going to be John Favreau's, and it's taking place. It's basically what's going to tie the Ahsoka show, the Mandalorian show, and the Skeleton Crew show all together. It's going to be like an epic. It's going to be like an event movie that ties all those shows together, and it's going to be probably a few years before that ever comes out.
oh yeah, we're talking probably 2026, 27 maybe.
Yeah. Aaron. Yeah, Filoni's directing, but it's a John Favreau production on that movie that's connecting all that. Basically, they're Mandoverse movies to tie together the Mando stuff.
And then that leads into the sequels.
Yeah, and then that leads into the sequels. Yes, Filoni is directing. Can you bring up Aaron's question, Stella? Star Wars ever going to talk about the midichlorians again? Most likely,
Oh
because it's all part of it.
God, why?
Well, fun. By the time that Grogu shows up on the Ray in the Ray movie, he's going to be an adolescent, so he'll already be a Jedi Knight. Because you're talking another 15 years, and he's already 50. So
Yeah, but he'll still be an infant. No, he won't be an adolescent. He'll still be an infant because of the way his species is ages. So if he's 50 now and he barely has had any training, he's had some training.
well,
That's
we
what is Mando? Mando is what, 5 years? What is Mando's time difference between? It's another what, 15, 20 years, right?
yeah, it's another 15. Well, by the time okay, so if Ray's movie's 15 years into the future from the sequel trilogy, then he will be about 90 by the time he gets to Ray.
Okay, so
And
Mandalorian takes place what? Mandalorian takes place 5 after the end of Return of the Jedi, but how many years?
9 years after the Return of Jedi.
Okay, so 9 years after. I thought it was five. Okay.
No, it is 5. Never mind, you're right. It
Okay,
is 5.
so 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and then how much longer before Mando is? So we're talking about another 30 years. So yeah, he would be 85, 90 years old. So it's just gonna be weird to see how they age him because when you say a 50-year-old, that's an old man, but in his species, that's not. So is he gonna be? I guess we'll have to wait and see. This will be
Well,
alive, right? I'd be able to sell Baby Yoda merchandise at sci-fi center.com, by the way.
you'll be able to sell adolescent Yoda merchandise too.
I know he
Uh,
won't even be Baby Yoda anymore. Has
he'll,
anybody did not call him Baby Yoda?
I call him by his given name, but it just depends. Anyway, next question, Stella. Do you think that toxic Star Wars fans are the most piteous toxic fandom?
No,
There's
no,
some. There's
no.
some. There's some of the worst. Toxic Star Wars fans and toxic Star Trek fans are pretty bad, man.
Mid-2000 Star Trek fans will defeat any any level of toxic fandom. I don't care if it's toxic Snyder fans, which I think are more of a myth than anything. I don't care if it's Star Wars fan. I have been a part of all these fandoms, and none of them reached a nuclear meltdown as old Trek fan in the mid-2000s. They got shows canceled. At least with Star Wars, yeah, those guys, people whined and crapped in their diapers, but those movies still got made, and those movies still made billions. Star Trek fan destroyed Star Trek where there wasn't Star Trek for 12 years. So no one, they're the Rocky Marciano of toxic fans. That's what Star Trek is.
Ford says Taylor Swift fans are some of the worst. Yes, Swifties are horrible.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
they support her though. They will
they're
support
supportive.
anything
They're
she
supportive
does.
of her. Now they will completely attack her ex boyfriends, but
Oh yeah, well they're gonna get written into songs anyway, so they're screwed.
Toss up force. This one's funny. Grogu will be the cynical teenager on his cell phone. Time for the force training I have not, man.
Yeah, he'll be like Groot. He'll be like Groot when Baby Groot grows up.
Toxic
Okay,
Snyder fans, a myth.
a myth to the point where they are the main focal point of the fandom. I think when I say myth, they're not as the driving force as everybody likes to think they are.
This one's funny too. Emo adolescent Grogu. Just as long as he doesn't start listening to Nirvana like in the Batman, something in the way.
Oh, dude, what's wrong? That's one of their best songs, man. Come on.
Oh, I know. I love that song. Uh, Go up to the Daniel Martin starred one right there. Okay. Uh, Daniel, they've already talked about the Wills in the Clone Wars show in the World Between. So yes, the Wills are still a thing. I beg to differ, Jeebus. There are normies that watch Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean the
Lyra.
majority of them. The majority of them are normies. It's just us weirdos that are overtly Star Trek geeks.
Okay, so I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to show a couple of trailers really quick, and then I'm gonna.
We're gonna get shut down.
No, they're Disney trailers. They're fine. They love
Cool.
they love their trailers getting shot out there. Um, I'm also going to show a couple of the some clips of the interviews from Celebration. So Gonna be just a little bit, but here we go. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna show is, well, first of all, stop sharing that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show is the Ahsoka trailer.
which I was actually pretty impressed by. I can't stand this character. I know a lot of people like her; she's cool, but that era of Star Wars, I just adored. But by the time she came around, I had already turned my mind off to that era of Star Wars. But this trailer was actually pretty cool. I am compelled to watch this show.
Okay, so are we sharing? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we are.
This is a little playlist I made for the different things I'm going to show tonight. So, uh, let me full screen. Might help if I actually.
Something dark. I sense it.
This is a new beginning. For some,
That was Sabine Wren from the Rebels cartoon. There's Hera Syndulla.
power.
It's been a while. Things have changed. I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
as heir to the Empire. We have to prepare for the worst. The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
Okay,
Now,
so some things.
hold on before you go. Quick, there's another version of this trailer that I saw that actually shows his face. Did you see that one?
I'm going to get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
It is
Don't-
actually, and
Don't show that one. That one will get us shut down.
anyway, I can, however, mention who is going to be playing Thrawn. Thrawn is being played by Lars Mikkelsen, Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Didn't even know he had a brother. There you go.
Now, to answer Forth's question here, can you put up Forth's question there that you started, Stella? Well, Thrawn, those things on Ahsoka's head, Forth, are her Leku. They're just like the Twi'leks. They've just got thicker versions of that.
Nerd.
Yes, Aaron. Start this one right here. Yes, Aaron. She was Anakin's apprentice in the Clone Wars. She left the Jedi Order after she was framed for a bombing that she did not do. She left the Jedi Order and walked her own path. Now, some things I was gonna show in this trailer. So, some of those characters, if any of you have ever watched the show, some of you who have ever watched the cartoon show Star Wars Rebels, we're getting live action versions of those characters. The green skin Twi'lek is Hera Syndulla. The chick with the hair that was talking to Ahsoka out on the landing platform, that's Sabine Wren. She is a Mandalorian, by the way, or she was at one point. I don't know if she's left the Mandalorian order by this point, but she was Mandalorian originally.
That's what's her face's sister, right?
No, 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 no. That's not Bo-Katan's sister. No.
Okay.
Uh, Also, there's a. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
There aren't many left.
Right here, this hologram right here is the main character of Rebels, Ezra Bridger. But he's an adult now instead of being a teenager. He was training as a Jedi under Kanan Jarrus until Kanan Jarrus was killed in the Rebels cartoon. And Kanan Jarrus was one of the last Padawans from the Clone Wars that escaped. He's one of the what they call the lost Padawans. Just like the kid that God, I'm blanked on his name. The one from the Jedi Fallen Order game.
I did. I know of the game, but I didn't play it.
Cameron Monaghan plays him. Damn it, I forget his name at this moment.
You need me to pull it up for you?
Let's see. Cal Kestis, thank you. Cal Kestis, the main character of Jedi Fallen Order. Just like him, he's one of the lost Padawans. So that is the first trailer I wanted to show y'all. That's the Ahsoka trailer. Let's see.
And by the way, to answer the question, Grand Admiral Thrawn is a much more effective, depending on what version you see of him, is a much more effective Moff than
Tarkin ever was.
Yeah, Tarkin's a joke compared to him.
And you notice that she did. You notice where Ahsoka dropped the heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they're not, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're gonna know a lot more about these parts of it. When I first came along, thought it was in the trilogy Heir to the Empire, but that's not what they used when they used in for these cartoons and shows. Correct? His canon has been redirected and rewritten, if I'm not wrong, right?
It's been somewhat changed. Somewhat changed.
Because during this era, he wouldn't even be alive if I'm because.
No, he was alive. No, he was alive during this era. He was alive during the time because he was the Grand Admiral that took place that ruled between 9 years after the Battle of Yavin to 11 or 12 years after the Battle of Yavin when he was killed in the Heir of the Empire. But he's actually been around the Empire. He was one of Palpatine's secret Moffs.
Yeah, but I thought he died. His books took place between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, or Empire Strikes Back and Jedi. It's been so long.
No. It was after Jedi.
Hold on, let me go ahead and do your thing. I guess I just got to refamiliarize myself because it's been so long. I haven't, been read his stuff since those books came out. Because that's what, wow, it was all 30 years ago, dude. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so Tony says here, because first toxic Star Wars fans get pissed off at The Last Jedi, then they boycott Solo, and then when they course correct on The Rise of Skywalker, they still hate it, saying it was the worst thing. Hey, man, the only thing I have to say about toxic Star Wars fans, man, is they can either like it or lump it. I'm going to stop listening to them, man.
Well, and they go to see it. It's not like, Solo was more than just a boycott. Solo was just a misplaced movie. Solo got Shazammed, is what Solo got. Solo got Black Adam. It was just not the right time or place for that movie while you still had Han Solo up on the screen and you just saw him and then you're going to release his movie. I think the Solo issue was more of timing of release than it was people boycotting,
I find it funny how the lore blamed all the Empire's bad plans on Tarkin. Well, it's because he was involved with a lot of the bad plans. Tarkin's horrible. Yeah. Thank God there's no multiverse in Star Wars, or my brain would start leaking out of my ears. Yeah, you're correct on that. One other thing that I was going to say about that Ahsoka trailer, when she's facing off against the Sith or the Dark Jedi guy there with the orange lightsaber, anybody who's seen Clone Wars or Rebels knows that she's in the world between worlds. Like, they're not actually in the prime plane anymore. They're in this like little offshoot pocket thing that the Wills have control over. So that answers your question from earlier, Daniel, about the Wills. Freddie Prinze Jr. played Ezra Bridger's master, Kanan Jarrus. How does one righteously hate something without being called toxic? Because I have too many ways to count on why I hate Star Wars now, but I don't watch it anymore.
Let me answer that first because I'm going to use the restroom. It depends on how you act upon that opinion. I can righteously hate Howard the Duck, but I'm not going to go down, if somebody were doing a Howard the Duck screening or something like that, or wanted to resurrect Howard the Duck, apart from laughing and hurting my side, laughing at why you would ever want to do that, I'm not going to activate in a manner that goes against you or harms what you're doing or affects what you're doing. A toxic person is not only going to hate it, they're going to actively try to destroy it and to try to destroy someone's enjoyment with it. That's what toxicity is. At least that's how I see it. How do you see that, Tate?
Fourth, I can answer this one for you real quick. Do you voice your complaints without complaining that other people like it? Because that's how you know. If you try to physically tear down somebody or tear down somebody else for watching what they enjoy, or you try to tell them that it's trash, don't watch that, blah, 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 and they like it, then that's what makes you toxic. If you just simply voice that you don't like it, but that's cool if somebody else does, then you're righteous. Hope that helps.
Although I don't think Fourth 1000 is righteous anything.
Oh no, he's got to get rid of this Tusk thing before I even think righteousness.
Yeah.
That's just nasty, dude. They did nasty things. They did nasty things to Justin Long with that. By the way, what do I think of Mandalorian season 3? It's been good. It hasn't been the greatest thing in the world, but it's been good. Not the best thing I'm watching right now. The best thing I'm watching right now is Picard season 3, but it's been okay.
Wow, that's a burp. That burp came over stereo.
I'm sorry about that, guys.
I heard that from like both sides, man. How you doing, Damien? What's going on, dude?
What's up, Damien? Sorry about that, y'all. I did not mean for that to happen.
This is the best I've ever heard your sound, and it's like maybe it's too good.
Toxic Star Wars fans are people that actually really hate Star Wars and send death threats to actors' Instagram accounts, which is just stupid. He's right. Or it's like that other blowhard that was trying to get people to. Well, I sent you the things from that dude's Twitter that was trying to get somebody to do a mass shooting at Celebration this weekend.
Oh yeah. That's just a criminal. That's not a fan, by the way. That's a criminal. Right?
Yeah. Well, what he doesn't realize is when they took down his channel, when they took down his Twitter page because he was making terroristic threats, Twitter has to inform law enforcement, and they'll have your IP address. So don't send death threats on Twitter. Bad idea.
Don't send them anywhere. Listen, it's not that serious, guys. It's not that serious. Stop.
And fourth, that is perfectly fine. If you have a gripe against it, just don't try to ruin it for somebody else that likes it, man. It's like I always say, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and opinions are subjective.
And there's a lot of trash out there, man. A lot of trash.
Well, William.
A lot of trash.
Yeah, like Howard the Duck. Anyway. Only send them on TikTok. That's just wrong. All right. So the next clip I'm going to show is this is a animated series called Star Wars Visions, and each episode is like a different animation style, and this will be for the season 2 of this show, which is coming out later this year. So let me see. I keep forgetting to share things. Share.
The old school way of sharing things was so much easier because you would have had it by now.
Right?
Everyone has an inner light.
Follow the light.
I always knew you were meant for bigger things.
What if you just keep going?
No need to fear. There are others like you here.
I saw it myself. She has special powers.
Can you get your porta potty off the starting line?
She's a total... Exactly.
Don't be afraid. May the Force be with you.
It's showtime.
Whoa. The storm is approaching.
I can fight them. I'm strong enough now.
No one is stronger than them.
We can beat them.
You there! Hold it!
We cannot choose where our calling takes us. Only whether or not to answer.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, so that there's going to be 9 episodes of that show, and each episode is animated by a different animation studio. So it's going to be in their own style.
Oh, by the way, totally off topic. I will not derail what you're saying, but that idea. Remember my box set for finishing up the Snyder arc, the animation. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, man, I get you, man. That's and you could do that. You could actually get different animation studios to do, different parts of that story just to kind of mix it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That stop motion animation is going to be fun to watch. Yeah, a lot of the animation, the first season of Visions was really cool. There was a lot of anime styles. Like I said, Daniel, there's 9 different animation studios working on that show, and each episode is a different story. It's each episode is its own self-contained story, and it's done by a different animation studio each one. That's how they did the first season. That's how they're doing the second season as well. Another show that they mentioned that they announced, but they didn't show a trailer for just yet. Yeah, the first season was cool. I haven't watched all of it yet, but I've seen a couple of it. Another thing that they announced at Celebration, but they didn't show a trailer for it yet because they don't have one ready, is the second season of Tales of the Jedi, which was a set of 12 shorts. I believe it was 12. That told half of them were about Count Dooku and half of them were about Ahsoka. So, no, go stop. Stop with the noises. Okay, so I'm going to show some of the interviews from Celebration. The first one I'm going to show is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I just might as well keep this shared because it's all coming from the same playlist.
It won't let you though. It will. Will it let you do it? Because it wouldn't let me do it. I always had to get out of the window and get back in with a different window.
Okay, so we're gonna play this little interview with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you meant. Okay, got it.
An entire television world for Star Wars? Maybe we have some people like that. You've seen them on multiple panels throughout the weekend, but now they're here on our stage to talk about all things Star Wars. You know them, you love them. It's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Is that you or me? You're still here. It's just the feed.
It made him like. There we go.
Good morning. Lukewarm crowd today, lukewarm crowd.
Wow, there's a lot more people here than I ever thought would be on the other side of that.
That's right. That's right. That's Trapper Wolf on stage right now. What kind of a partner is Trapper Wolf sending Carson off by himself all the time? Come on.
Smart. I stayed at home. I had a lot of Deb and Rick and I were talking about stuff. Paul can go off and do that. You know, that's his job.
Well, we saw you in the lounge there, in the employee lounge. I gotta know, it looked like it was one of your hats, but is that now Disney archival property, that hat?
No, it's not one of my hats. Actually, Shauna, our customer, they made that hat for me special. So it's a unique hat that I actually don't have. You are right. They have it somewhere in the costume shop.
Does that bug you?
I got the jacket, so I can't really complain. We all got to keep our pilot jackets.
Oh, wow.
That season. That was kind of the deal to get us back. Because we were all like, John, we're really bringing the quality of the show down when we're there in the background. And he really enjoys it, so we got to keep the leather jackets. I stopped just short of putting my dog in it. I wanted to bring Wolfie along and put him in the shot, but I thought it'd be terrible continuity between takes, so we left him out, but yeah.
One day we'll get that dog in there.
I got other wolves.
Do you have any past stuff at home?
No, I have.
Maybe a mug that says "Number 2 Dad."
No, the one. The one I like is the chainmail Beskar shirt.
Yes.
I have that, and I have a.
That where that went. You have that.
Yeah. And I have a dark saber too. I have one of them.
That's impressive.
And a bunch of pop vinyls too. Those
yes.
are over there. Yes. They have some cool stuff, by the way.
They got some great stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I mean, first of all, Mando season 3. You did a little watch-along party for people who the latest episode. It has been so fun to watch the evolution of the show, the explorations of genre. I love that we got a buddy cop episode, you know, a procedural. I love that you're exploring this space. How has the show kind of changed for y'all, and you know, how do you kind of work that experimentation into it?
Well, the big change is that we went from a very first-person, ground-level adventure with new characters, new planets, slowly working our way into weaving ourselves into the fabric of Star Wars more as we introduce some legacy characters into the second season. And now with Ahsoka coming out in August, we have a lot of, we're in the same time period. So there's a lot of coordination as to what's happening within that time period. And so we try to keep and preserve the personality of what the show originally was, but every once in a while, the greater galaxy has to rear its head and affect the way things play out.
Yes. And talking about that, there was a cameo that was particularly special, I think, to a lot of people here and a lot of people that I work with, and that was Jedi Master Kelleran Beck.
Ahmed Best.
Who is, of course, played by the amazing
Jar Jar.
How did the decision to introduce Kelleran in as really the reason we have Grogu?
There are two sides to it, really. One is, you know, what Jedi would be appropriate as we go through, as Dave and I always discuss as with Luke Skywalker's appearance, who is in play in the galaxy at that moment and what would make the most sense for the story. And we love to pull in elements that's even outside of canon if it's part of what's part of the Star Wars fabric. And the Jedi Temple Challenge, it made perfect sense for that character who looks after the younglings to be one of the possibilities. But then the other aspect is, who are you going to cast? And I remember on this stage in 2019 in Chicago, when Ahmed Best came out and got the kind of response that all of you gave him, that's when we also realized that not just the character, but the actor, it would make perfect sense for that actor to be the person who got to do that
as well. He's wonderful. He's just so wonderful, and he's such a part of the legacy of Star Wars, and it was just wonderful to see him there. It was a great moment. It was a great moment.
We're a show that's made by fans, and people, everybody who works on the show the same way about Star Wars as we do. And so whether it's a cameo, whether it's an appearance of a hero that pops in for one episode, or people working on the, you know, behind the camera, there's a tremendous amount of excitement, enthusiasm, and certainly Ahmed has been with Star Wars and been a fan for you know, longer than most. Yeah.
And talking about sort of weaving these characters in, I mean, we got to talk about Ahsoka. We got to talk about Ahsoka. Because I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about two moments that I've been on this stage that have gotten the largest reaction, one of them, like you said, was Ahmed in 2019, but one of them was yesterday morning right here when these people saw Ahsoka, Sabine, and Hera in live action in the same place. And Dave, these are characters that you and the team at Lucasfilm have been working on, have been working with for, you know, 2 decades now. It must be wonderful to be bringing this show to the screen.
Yeah, man, it's emotional. I gotta say, I'm just taking this all in.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of these. I've never seen so many people, and I'm just looking. Literally, I'm just like looking. I get emotional. I'm looking at all your faces, and all the things you do to make this all possible. And I'm trying to like commit it to memory and just know that I see you guys and the variety of people that we have as Star Wars fans is a part of what makes it so beautiful. That you come in costumes are just. I love how much you put into it. It means so much to me. I don't want to, because I get it. Like, I really get it. John gets it. if I wasn't sitting here, I swear to God, and people say it, and I think we all know, but I would be out there. I've been out there. I appreciate the effort you make just to be here with us, and just let me say that. And thank you so much for supporting the work that I've been a part of, and through Star Wars all these years and these characters, and to have them in live action, it doesn't happen, without you supporting it for all this time and wanting it. I get to do these great adventures with John and everybody else because of that support, and it's a real privilege. So thank you.
I think that's something that we all feel. I think that's something that we all feel coming off of everything that you've all been working on for so long. Is we know how in touch you are, and we know how much it means to you to put forth that effort. And I mean, if anything, I feel like Ahsoka, like you're saying, is such a show that represents that reciprocal relationship. Because the love for Ahsoka from the fans.
It's a special time because after Revenge of the Sith, I don't think any of us knew what was going to go on. The first time I saw Revenge of the Sith was in the Skywalker Ranch because George Lucas asked me to watch it because we were getting prepared to make the Clone Wars. But for a lot of people, Star Wars was over. But if you were a Star Wars fan, you know that we used to have a pin that went around conventions that Star Wars is forever. And, I think that as a group of fans and people, that's really proven true because people wanted it. No one, I think, understood that better than George, which is why he made Clone Wars, which was episodic. He saw the future of things in streaming and how we would be able to watch things in all these different manners. And it's just grown and grown and grown. And, John was a part of Clone Wars. And so when John came with this story to make Mandalorians, I'm like, that makes sense to me. He is a Mandalorian because my show. And so I was like, it was perfect. And, and then you look at, you guys, if you met Leslie Headland, and she's a massive fan and I've talked to, and I enjoyed talking with her, and her teaser was phenomenal. I mean, how can you not be excited about Acolyte?
So amazing.
And Tony Gilroy did a version of The Empire that's like it's like the most awesome evil thing I've ever seen. Like, I love all that, and that's inspiring. We inspire each other. It's a big collective effort at Lucasfilm, and I think it's all building in a great direction. So it's not just one thing we're doing. I'm glad people like Ahsoka, but there's so much out there. Like our friend Deb Chow went and made Obi-Wan. How awesome was that? And I get to watch those shows, which is super cool. So there's no one dimension of this that's just better than the other. It's just all great, and we love it. And I mean, look at it. This thing has grown. I mean, there's a Tauntaun over there. You believe that? I mean, we just take that for granted now. It's Tauntaun. But it's like, no, it's really cool.
No, I feel like I'm on set with the video wall back there.
I know.
The set and the
oh my gosh.
I'm gonna let you know that if you push right next to the blast doors, well, we got this, first of all.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you know
real these
that
days.
if you push that white button when you're on your way out, something's gonna happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's the last button you touch when you sell it that way.
Something's gonna happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, you're pushing it.
But talking about, like you're saying, that building this sort of now, it's always been a connected galaxy, but now sort of bringing it to television and to Disney Plus, and we're seeing The Acolyte, and something that I've been particularly interested in is Skeleton Crew. Because it feels to me like those big magical adventure movies that were such a genre in the 80s. Like I feel like a Willow, like an Amblin production, like a Goonies, something like that, where it's like my entire family, we would watch those movies over and over together, and they had a very particular tone. And I feel that tone from Skeleton Crew. Is that a particular thing that you wanted to see in it?
That's exactly what John Watts and Chris Ford had pitched, which was, an Amblin movie that starts off from the perspective of what's it like for ordinary people in the suburbs in the Star Wars galaxy, and launch them into an adventure. And what I like about it is that, and as George always did, there's an entryway for younger viewers too, but you have to create a world that still feels like Star Wars and that still feels dangerous and could sit alongside of all the other shows. And so it's just wonderful to see things from different perspectives, and Star Wars allows you to do that because the world is so full, so rich, so lived in. You could put the camera anywhere, and if you're doing your job, you should be able to look at from any angle and feel that same feeling that it's authentically Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, it all looks very, Obviously, we cannot wait to see more. Obviously, we will have to wait to see more. I remember on the panel yesterday, somebody said, yeah, and you're going to be able to see it soon. And Dave said, not so soon. Yeah. Not so soon.
Right back to work next week. I mean, we got so much editing to do and visual effects, but it's fun. Every day we're looking at that galaxy with a microscope trying to, figure every detail out, and it's very fun. The stuff coming in, ILM's doing great work. We got great wizards making magic happen, so I'm real excited for you guys to see it. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, we are excited to see all of it. Thank you so much, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. We've got more from Star Wars Celebration Live in just a moment. Please stay right here.
All right, so that was the Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau interview.
It was so emotional. I almost wanted to cry, but I'm a grown man and I don't cry. So.
Yeah, you're like Conan. You don't cry, right?
Klingons don't have tear ducts.
Okay, so the next interview I'm going to show is with some of the people that are going to be in The Acolyte. This is going to be Mandy Jacinto, Daphne Keane, who was in Logan. She's all grown up now, and Charlie Barnett.
Now you've seen our next guests giving forking amazing performances in The Good Place, hanging out with Wolverine and Professor X, and living the same day over and over and over again in Russian Doll. But now they can all be seen together in the brand new series, Star Wars, The Acolyte. Give it up for Manny Jacinto, Daphne Keane, and Charlie Barnett! Yeah, get used to that. Yeah, no. Yo, one more time. This is so cool!
This is insane.
Now, Charlie, you previously worked with Leslie on Russian Doll.
I did.
So what was it like working on a Star Wars series with her?
Very different world, I'm not gonna lie. Leslie's incredible. She's one of the most malleable directors that I feel like I've worked with, one of the most collaborative. As much as she is so ingrained into this world, she's a super fan. I'm a fan. Leslie is like next level super fan. She was correcting me on things. I couldn't believe it. But she is always available to hear our voices, to incorporate our thoughts, our artistic choices into the world, into the galaxy, I should be saying.
A galaxy far, far
away.
away.
Which makes it so much more enjoyable to work on something like this, but also I think more creative. It's really incredible. She's a brilliant woman.
Yeah.
Truly.
Woo!
So
Yeah,
thankful to
Leslie.
be working with her again.
I can really look forward to you guys do because you really made magic with Russian Doll. So I'm really excited to see it.
Thank you.
Now, Daphne, you play a Jedi in this series, and I have to ask you our most important question.
Padawan.
What's it like living all of our dreams?
Guys, it's a lifestyle. It's great.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. I love it. The first time I got my saber, I had to go into a corner and just scream on my own. I was like, it's fine, guys. I've done this a billion times. And I was just like, it was so exciting.
Let it be known we had sticks at first.
We had like these wooden sticks, like genuinely, that were like taped to be like the border where you like put your hand on. And then suddenly we were on set and they were like, here's the saber. they just like handled it really casually. We've been like handling them for like however many just projects they've done. We were like, just so much pressure. But it was so fun. I get to be an alien, which is sick. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. we have a good time, and then we get to do a bunch of stunts, which I love, and we get to do force stuff. It's just like we had a whole force training, like 2 weeks of just like us in rooms being like, which was really fun.
All right, I need to see it one more time. Give me your best force move.
My best force move. Well, I can do that. I'm not gonna give you more, guys. You have to watch the show.
You know, it'd been really cool if that door just opened. Like as soon as you did it, the door just slid
What can I
open.
say? I just did that.
Now, Manny, you've been in a couple of great ensemble casts in your career.
Thank you.
So what's it like joining one in a galaxy far, far away?
There is nothing like Star. This is
unreal. It goes all the way back there.
Oh man, I mean, there's nothing like the ensemble of the Star Wars family, and it's truly, truly an honor to be able to do this with all you guys. Because, yeah, absolutely, like this is a true honor, so thank you. There's nothing like it.
Oh, dear. Well, he got it. Now, Daphne and Charlie, we've heard you two are like two peas in a pod on the set. What's it like working with one another? And, ooh, what's a fun story you can share about your time on the set?
We have many.
Yeah,
many.
We're kind of like the shenanigans, the children of the set.
Yeah, we're definitely very goofy.
Got in trouble a lot moving, things with the force because,
Yeah.
Because you can.
Because we can,
Because like we know how to do that.
We had a couple like off-screen saber fights.
Yeah, we did.
Ooh, Daphne broke a saber.
No, shush! Why would you
She's
say
that
that?
strong, yeah.
Actually, if
that
it was
powerful.
3, but okay.
True. And they come in like
Thanks.
private briefcases too, so it's like
Yeah,
a
it was
big
really
deal,
bad.
No,
it was really bad. It was actually really.
Real.
The prop people were like, "You need to stop," and I was like, "I'm really sorry. I'm not doing it on purpose."
I think it was week 3. We were going through stunt training, and I was like falling apart at the seams. I really, this is a big deal.
Big deal.
This is a big deal, and I wanted to live up to everything that was being thrown at us. And it's such an incredible group of people training us for all the stunts and working with us for stunts.
Yeah.
And I was about to lose it because I couldn't do a backflip and a kickflip spin with my lightsaber like Manny can.
Like Manny.
Legitimately.
Manny's stunt god.
Yeah.
Like Manny's the father of stunts.
I didn't get to do any like super fun stuff.
No.
It was like
No lightsaber too, so
But you're like,
Yeah.
anyways, we can't talk about this. This is very forbidden. But Manny was having not Manny, Charlie. Great, I'm doing great under pressure. Charlie was having a little freak out, like in the corner. He was like just like having a little moment, and they gave him his robe, like his Jedi robe, for the first time. This is highly illegal. I shouldn't have done this. I took my phone, I took a photo of it, and I sent it to him, and I was like, "You look so cool. Love you."
It was
And that was the beginning
an
of our
inspiring. It
friendship.
was our moment of bond, and
Yeah.
I knew that I had a partner supporting
Yeah.
me for sure. But
I sent him a little message, Master Charlie.
Now, we talked about your Jedi training, your lightsaber training. What kind of preparation did you put into it as far as, I don't know, High Republic information? Or, whatever.
I think Charlie should take this one because Charlie is informed, guys. Charlie's got the answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm too afraid to answer this. I feel like we're gonna get in
Everyone's
trouble
watching
for
you.
Don't worry,
saying
Leslie
anything.
is backstage watching you on
No
the screen.
pressure.
Leslie's
Say
gone?
whatever you
All right,
want.
good. I won't be fired?
Yeah,
All right.
Leslie's gone, but look around.
Oh, take a breath. We are in an era a little bit after, the highest of the High Republic, about 100 years out from the books. So luckily, I think it makes it a little bit more free to be like, we're coming into it from a place that isn't established. I'm like, wow, man, I want to say so much.
Tread so lightly.
Yeah.
Tread
tread
or
so
don't.
lightly.
Yeah.
Ooh, we go to some cool places.
Do you do
Can't
some
say
cool
that.
things as well?
We do some cool things, some really cool things.
Cool things.
Cool things, cool places, cool people.
There's some cool looks. I can
Yeah.
say that this one has some cool horns.
Yeah.
That's enough of
I do
what like.
slay in my alien outfit. It's really funny. I walked on set one day without it, and the director asked me for a coffee. He was like, "Oh, and yeah, new PA. Can you get me a coffee?" I was like, "Yeah." They came back with a coffee, and they went, "Oh my God, Daphne." I was like, "Yes."
I love that you got the coffee.
I got the coffee. I was like, "Here's your latte."
We love a humble Jedi Queen.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, this, as we just said, this is an entirely new era for Star Wars. So what's it like to have the freedom in that timeline and this story and to kind of just come in on a new era? You guys are setting a tone.
Yeah.
What's that feel like for you?
I think it's really fun to get to like investigate and have some creative input within the guidelines of the universe that's been created. But it's really fun to get to actually like take creative decisions and stuff. And it's really fun to kind of have this freedom of, it's this time where basically like Siths don't exist, which is something we haven't really seen. And it's fun to have that kind of, that air of mystery and all of these new things, and the Jedi is kind of like thriving at this point, like they're doing really well, and it's really fun. We have different costumes to the other Jedis because obviously it's sooner. It's just really fun to get to play around with stuff, I think.
Now, without spoiling the show, can you tell me, I don't know, describe the Acolyte in 5 words? Less than 5 words.
One word each, or something.
Create a sentence.
Action. Trailer. Drop it now.
Yeah.
Come on, the people want it.
Yes! Manny, what did you do?
I'm gonna cause a riot.
He's using
You
the
already
Force.
But yes, action.
I would say a battle for power. I mean, the best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. It depends on what side you're standing on, truly. You know what I mean? You can look at any angle and see yourself relayed through all the characters, Darth to Luke. You know what I'm saying? But this show, yeah, I shouldn't use Darth Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry, I'm too casual with that. This show is truly about that balance of power and balance of good versus evil, and realizing that so much of it, starts at the root, truly.
I also say it's a very emotional show in a way. It's kind of got a very human quality, which is, I think, what drew all of us as creatives apart from the huge Star Wars element of it, which I think we're all fans of it. But it was really human show, and it's really fun as an actor to get to step into that.
I just want to say, first of all, I'm so excited to see what you all do with this show. Thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. So that was just 3. They had like 4 different interviews for people from the Acolyte. One of them had an interpreter on stage with him because he doesn't speak English. He's a Korean actor. He's the guy from Squid Game. If anybody ever watched that.
A whole bunch of people watch that.
I mean, I was talking more like our audience. I don't know if I didn't watch it, so I don't.
You didn't watch that? It was weird.
But yeah, that was some of the people from Amanda Steinberg and Lee Jung-jae are also in this. So is Jodie Turner and Rebecca Henderson, and Jonah Suotomo and Dean Charles Chapman are also in the Acolyte as well. Now here we go. This is Ray Stevenson and Lars Mikkelsen talking about Ahsoka.
Back in the days of the Clone Wars, our next guest voiced the Mandalorian Gar Saxon. But as most of us know, he dead. But that doesn't mean Ray Stevenson can't come back to Star Wars and play another character in live action. And he's coming out with someone else who was presumed missing from animation and is now returning in live action as Grand Admiral Thrawn from the new Disney Plus series Ahsoka. Give a warm Star Wars celebration welcome to Ray Stevenson and Lars Mikkelsen. The heir to the empire, is it?
I can't deny that. Yeah.
This must be so fun for the two of you to have started an animation and be with Star Wars and part of the family for so long and see these characters make this transition. How's it been for you this week?
I have to admit that I got the call to do the voice for Gar Saxon, and it was such a blast. I had no idea what I was going to expect. I thought, oh yeah, English guy, he's a bad guy, yeah? All right. Fair enough. And
Danes are too, yeah.
So bring out the Vikings, right? Here we go. And when I got the call for this, they were so secretive. I thought, Gas, really? When is this set? Is it going to be? I thought it was going to be that.
Yeah.
Then I got to meet Dave, and I said, oh no, we have a surprise. And I was introduced to this character, Balin Skull. I thought, whoa, hang on. So from then on, it's been a roller coaster.
There are so many shots in that Ahsoka teaser of your character doing some wild Jedi stuff, man.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, Ahsoka and I go at it quite strong a couple of good times in the series. And she's a powerhouse to work with, of course. But getting to wield the lightsaber is just the best feeling in the world. And the first time that they handed it to me for the camera test, you couldn't help yourself. You make the noise.
You make the noise. Everybody says
it. I'm sorry. No, everybody does.
You spend over 40 years of your life making the noise. You can't just stop making the noise all at once.
I know. But you have to stop it during filming.
Sure. Sure. But can't they just digitally pull that out? What is ILM doing if they're not doing that for you? Now let's talk, Lars, about the transition into Thrawn in live action. Everybody's our favorite sneaky blue son. Our favorite sneaky blue son.
Yeah.
He is a character that is wildly loved.
Yeah.
And has such a long history to him.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like to first be approached for Rebels and now to be here doing it again in Ahsoka.
Well, I mean, Rebels is it 5 or 6 years ago? I think. Yeah. When I got approached by Dave for that, I didn't really know what that entailed. I mean, how much work was that going to be? But throughout having done that, the character came more and more to life, for me at least, yeah. And we just hit it off over the Skype thing. I just immediately felt that connection because he's such a brilliant man.
Yeah.
And he just loves the creativity that we can provide. In terms of what the character was about, I mean, there's so many layers to that villainous character. In a Sherlockian way, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's so much smarter than me. So when I needed to do the transition into this, we had to think, how do we do this? How do we, transition this into live action? Because you can't really just adapt and do the same thing. But we've done as much as the same thing as we can, but adapted it. Yep.
Nice. Did you ever think? Did you ever think when you got into acting and performing that a single shot of the back of your head would cause such a huge reaction in people?
No. No, I had no idea. You know, I live in Denmark. It's a very small country. I think we could all be in here, actually. So, in many ways, this is it's mind-blowing for me, and the love that I've been met with today is just.
It's what, you know, it sounds so cliche when we say all the time that it's being welcomed into a family, but it really is kind of like that, isn't it?
It is.
It really does feel that way.
It does feel like that, yeah.
And
and I mean, even when we did this show, I mean, because of Dave's brilliance, and you know, I really mean what I said on stage. I mean, I've never been on a set with so much passion from everyone to try to achieve the best we can with this.
And every department cares so much. It's not just about their own departments, they're all part of it. And somebody from the makeup department sees somebody in construction who's maybe having a bit, are you all right? Do you need anything? There's no division as such. They're so united, so thrilled, and there's such long hours, but such amazing talent that's being brought to bear. And everybody runs around and says, oh, the costumes are showing, and they want to see, oh, the sets, there's a new set on stage. Doesn't matter what department you go and see. You can't wait, because everybody was so excited about that.
Yeah.
And enthused and supportive.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like a lot of artistry at every level, and everybody is so each other, you know, from everybody that's building props and droids and costumes and everything.
Exactly. I mean, I would go on set and I think, who designed this? But then you look at the quality and you go like, who constructed it? And the costumes, they're works of art. Shauna was just like, she's a genius.
You look really cool in that robe, man. Like, that's a good Jedi robe.
Oh, my word. Oh, yeah.
Like, there are a lot of variations on Jedi robe, and I love what they say about characters.
Yeah.
And seeing you in like this gray, almost tweedy, you know what I mean?
I know, there was, you're not sure where exactly he's from, which part of the universe or the galaxy, but he has been part of it for, you know, he's been there as a presence. And then there's this kind of nobility about him. But is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? There's something else other going on, which Filoni will be revealed.
Yeah.
Relieved.
Well, speaking of making Dave nervous, here we go. I got a question. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to give anything away. We would never do that. But we could, for instance, you mentioned, you know, Sherlockian, you mentioned sort of the Moriarty nature of Thrawn. If you were to name a couple characters that you took inspiration for your performance, and we can do this because we're not giving anything away, go ahead. Just name a couple characters, maybe.
Okay. It would have to be some Arthurian knight, some sort of legend, some quest that may be involved.
Okay. But once again, Arthurian, they weren't all good.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. So who knows? So who knows?
I'd say someone along the lines of Sherlock.
Yeah. Well, we know what you're about already.
Yeah.
You sneaky guy.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm very excited to see more of your characters. Obviously, we have a bit of a wait ahead of us, but we're very, very excited. And I think it's going to be worth the wait, y'all.
So thrilled.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Ray Stevenson. and Lars Mikkelsen. Give it up one more time.
All right, so I have one more interview I'm going to show y'all, and then we're going to do a quick Q&A after that.
Donating pet food can keep families together. Pets and people belong together.
What is that? Oh, is that you, William?
Every right to just back in a giant chair, cackle at everything, and shoot lightning bolts from your fingertips at will. It's why we're extending the same courtesy to our next guest, minus the lightning bolts from the fingers thing. Please welcome to the stage the Emperor himself, Ian McDermott! So you don't just rule the Empire and the entire galaxy, you rule this entire room and the stage.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you for that, sir. Speaking of the anniversary of Return of the Jedi, it's been 40 years since what we thought was the final film in the Star Wars trilogy was coming out. We were wrong about that twice now, but you know that's a good thing to be wrong about. Did you ever think that you would still be playing Emperor Sheev Palpatine 40 years on?
I didn't think I'd be alive 40 years on. Yeah, I was 37 when it all happened. I was supposed to be 120 or something. Then I went backwards to my own age, which is really confusing. And then I went forwards again to goodness knows what in the most recent movie, a reconstituted age, really. So I've run the gamut.
Now, of all those different versions that you've played of Palpatine, do you have a favorite?
Well, when I get asked that question about other things, I usually say the most recent one. And I suppose I would say that. Although, when the fans ask me, you guys, so rude of me to have my back to you, you know, but I'm not nervous. No, I usually say Revenge of the Sith. Oh, good. Oh, you agree. Yeah. I like that word. It has a certain ring, Sith, don't you? So that's my favorite. But I like the last one too, because that was a big surprise, not least to me. And it was nice to be reconstituted and swing around the enormous studio on this sort of giant crane thing, manipulated by 4 people who, I'm happy to tell you, were very skillful. Although what they used to say was, okay, Ian, you know, we were in London. Okay, Ian, stand by. Okay, fine. We're going to go in a minute, but they'd go just before the minute. So they'd go, okay, Ian, stand by, and then I'd go like that. But it was soon sorted.
Wonderful. Sheev Palpatine, some might say, he has no redeeming qualities. Others think he's just the best boss in the universe. How do you approach, yeah, I know where you are.
Yeah.
How do you approach playing a character that is just so wonderfully evil?
Well, I use my own unredeeming qualities. But also, I don't know, I think it's just, you know, it's a lot of people around who exhibit some of his traits, some of his qualities, so I kind of borrow from them now and again.
Do you want to mention any of those inspirations by name?
No.
Fair enough. Now we are at Celebration. We've just celebrated the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi with that amazing panel yesterday. We've celebrated some villains of the galaxy today, earlier this morning. You've been doing the convention circuit for a number of years now.
Yes.
A number of years. Of all those years that you've been attending conventions, but Star Wars Celebration specifically, do you have a favorite fan interaction that has happened?
Well, I was in New York. Actually, it wasn't for Star Wars reasons. I was doing a play, and I was walking with a friend of mine in Central Park, and someone called over, "Hey, hi, good morning, Senator." And I said, "I think you mean Supreme Chancellor." He was just a little behind, you know.
That friend wasn't Dennis Lawson, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it was a human being. No one I recognized.
All right. I know Dennis Lawson said he has some photos, some very old photos.
Oh, is he showing you those photos? Is he showing them around? This is deeply embarrassing. Dennis has a photo of him and a photo of me, separate photographs of when we were at drama school in Scotland many, many years ago. And I said, "Who is that attractive young man?" And I wasn't talking about Dennis.
Dennis told us a version of that story yesterday, not that particular part, but yes, no, he did say he met you on the first day of drama school. You walked away, he thought, "I'm never going to see that man again." Yeah. And now here we are, 40 years on.
I know. Isn't life strange?
It is indeed. But we're so glad to have you here. Now, I don't think I can have you sitting in this seat without asking you a couple of personal Palpatine questions.
Here we go.
Here we go. I know. First of all, I would just love to know, you never see it in the film, but we know Snoke has some lovely golden slippers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How do you think Mr. Sheev Palpatine unwinds when he gets home from a long day on the Death Star?
I think he sits down with a glass of blood.
Whose blood?
And watches,
anyone. Doesn't
and he watches endless reruns of himself on Disney Plus. As do I. Only joking.
And he sits there and says, "Look at that handsome young man."
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
He says, "Look at that handsome young man."
Yes, I suppose you could say he is delusional.
He doesn't run a bath?
He running a bath? Having one is a sort of terrible thought. Anyway, there'd be someone there to run, well, for absolutely everything at his beck and call, I think.
Well, that's fair. All right, and while we have you here, would it be okay if we asked you to run a brief master class in how to be the perfect Palpatine, to perfect the evil cackle, and to do the lightning finger pose? I've been working on it. I don't think I'm doing it right. Can you teach me?
Well, I've got some bad news about the lighting finger pose, as you call it, because...
What do you call it?
No, this, as you probably all know, at the moment, we're all trying to cut back on electricity. So it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be fair to do that for you, but I could probably manage the laugh. The thing is not to think about it. If you were trying, don't try it at home. You'll have a throat operation afterwards. But the thing is to think of it not as laughing, but just as something, and then go for it. Rather like this.
Would you like them to try? Should we try it? Let's try it real quick. One more for us, and we'll all do it together, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Try it?
Yeah.
After 3. 3.
I don't think I did it right. But thank you for the master class.
Not
All
many
right.
evil people here today. I don't believe that for a moment.
All right, and we got through that entire interview, and I didn't even bring up the tragedy of Darth Plagueis once.
I'm glad you didn't, because I have nothing to say about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis. Except, it takes one to know one, really.
There's always next celebration. Hopefully next time
I'll be there.
we have you sitting down here. Give it up once again for Ian McDermott. More Star Wars Celebration Live coming up in a minute.
What a delightful fellow. I didn't realize he was 37 when he first started that role. Shit, he's damn near 80 now.
When he first showed up in Return of the Jedi, because he was not the Palpatine in Empire Strikes Back. That was a different person.
It was an old lady with some really awful sunglasses on.
Right. But when he showed up in Return of the Jedi, he was 37, and like he said, he aged forward, then he aged backward for the prequels, and then he went older for the sequels. So
yeah, he seems very reserved. All right, guys. Now we are going to open it up to your basic.
One more bit of information before we do that, though. They are re-releasing for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi on May 25th. They are re-releasing Return of the Jedi to theaters. That was something else that they mentioned at Celebration. So check your local theaters if you want to see Return of the Jedi on the big screen, if you've never gotten to do that before, around May 25th.
Yeah, I saw it 40 years ago. That's just when these things start hitting their 40th anniversary, I start feeling real fucking old. All right, so no, not well. You know what? I don't know. I don't. Some guys are great at being directors. I don't know. It's a totally different thing to run a studio. Not, I mean, some people can do it, some people can. I wonder if guys like this would lose their love for it if they ran the whole studio. I don't know.
I think they would. Honestly, I think they should stay creatives, but I think they should have a person over them that is also a fan.
Yeah, that's kind of like what James Gunn did. James Gunn wouldn't have taken the job of DC head if it hadn't been for
Peter
Peter
Safran.
Safran coming on board. So if I could see if there was a third head in there that was a business head that could handle all the drama, but I don't think those guys want to deal with that kind of stuff beyond the level. So yeah, we're gonna open it up to basic Q&A. It doesn't have to be Star Wars; it can be, but like I said, this is a weird show. This is a show from last night, so what we've usually done is done the Q&A, but we also had our very first pre-recorded interview. So there we go. Which Patty Jenkins was able to do that Star Wars project. Yeah, there just seems to be a lot of issues with Star Wars.
Now, the thing about so the Rogue Squadron thing is still getting made. According to what was said at Celebration, it's just not being made with Patty Jenkins, unfortunately. And they're thinking about turning it into a series instead of a movie. Which, if they're going to tell a Rogue Squadron story, especially in the way that the old Rogue Squadron novels, that would probably be best if they did it in a series instead of a single movie.
Yeah, there's not enough time, in my opinion, to do it any other way.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, lightsabers aren't real. I'm just now finding this out after 40 years. All right.
James Mangold is going to be busy because he's doing Swamp Thing for DC and he's doing Dawn of the Jedi for Lucasfilm.
He can handle it. All right. Anybody got any before we disappear off into the night?
Yeah, that's it for questions.
All right, guys. We've gone 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we pretty much covered everything. Oh, the only thing I didn't cover on the thing is because I didn't know what kind of time we had. But what I want to do, and this will probably be more appropriate on the Sunday night stream, is pick a movie of the week that we can just dive into a little bit. We'll do it in long form and Sci-Fi Center Presents. But one of them, the first one was going to be John Carpenter's The Thing. But I think we've gone long enough tonight, so I will actually add that into one of the streams that are coming up this weekend. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick each of us. Hold up.
Let me answer this question for Daniel Martin. The movie that Filoni is attached to is a movie that's going to culminate at the end of Mandalorian, the Ahsoka show, and the Skeleton Crew show. It's going to tie all those together, and it probably won't be until 2026 or 2027.
Okay, so what we'll be doing is each of us will pick a movie week after week, and we'll just kind of dive into it like we did with the Sci-Fi Center Presents type of stuff, and then we'll extend it. But the thing was going to be the one tonight, but I think we've had a full night. We're at 2 hours and 11 minutes right now. I think you guys have got your fill of us, so I am going to go ahead and end it there. Anybody have any last words?
No, just like I said, just tried to give a broad overview of what happened at Celebration. Hopefully, uh, that sufficed.
Cool. All right. Yep. And like I said, we got our independent filmmaker in. I'm actually starting to get a list of people who actually want to come on the show. So it will hopefully we'll get enough to where we can do them every single week. So, all right, guys, I'm starting to fade. This has been will probably be a very rare Monday overnighter. Like I said, this is going to be one of those break open and break glass if we ever need to do one. But for the most part, I want to try to keep the Saturday overnighter, and then like a shorter version. I'm not going to do a Sunday overnighter. I think I'm going to rename that. I don't think that show needs to be an overnight right after we've done about a 2.5 hour show, but it'll be fulfilling though. So it'll definitely be at least 2 hours. All right, guys, that's it for Thade, for Stella. We'll see you next time.